This week on Africa Weekly, we go to a town on the Burundi-Rwanda border that's been hit by worsening trade relations between the two countries. We head to the Lesotho races, where owners are hoping to cash in off the back of their purebred horses and native ponies. And finally, we follow Cairo's joggers and cyclists as they try to beat the capital's gridlocked streets. But first, a summary of the stories that made the headlines this week. Clashes in Libreville have left several people dead since the announcement that President Ali Bongo won last weekend's election by a razor-thin majority. Police have arrested hundreds of protesters over the violence, which included the National Assembly building being set ablaze. Bongo's main rival, Jean Ping, claims that the vote was rigged and that he in fact won. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe announced at a summit in Nairobi that Japan will pour $30 billion of investments into Africa by 2018. It was the first time the Tokyo International Conference on African Development was held in the continent instead of Japan. Tokyo already has a well-established presence in Africa, but its financial importance to the continent has long been eclipsed by regional arch-rival China. Tunisian head of state Beji Caid Essebsi presided over the first Council of Ministers on Wednesday, 2 days after Youssef Chahed took office as prime minister in the new unity government. Chahed is the country's 7th prime minister in less than 6 years, following a 2011 revolution that ousted strongman Zain El Abidine Ben Ali. He faces major economic and security challenges following a wave of jihadist attacks in the country, as well as ongoing problems of poverty, unemployment and corruption. A South African school has been ordered to suspend allegedly racist hairstyle regulations after black pupils said they had been called monkeys by teachers for wearing band afros. Some pupils said they were forced to chemically straighten their hair and not wear afro hairstyles that were deemed untidy. The prestigious Pretoria High School for Girls was historically attended by whites only, but it admitted black children following the end of apartheid in 1994. Volunteers have been giving free coding lessons to children in Madagascar aboard special coding buses. The program's director considers an ability to code so essential that those who can't will soon be considered illiterate, and hopes coding will soon become part of the country's education system. Despite the cloudy weather, stargazers in South and Central Africa were treated to an annular solar eclipse, which happens when there is a near-perfect alignment of the Earth, Moon and Sun, making the Sun appear as a ring of fire. Trade across the Burundi border with Rwanda has been suffering since last year's political unrest, with Burundi banning food exports and now buses from crossing over, hitting the economies of both countries hard.
The once bustling border town of Akanyaru is suffering as relations between Burundi and Rwanda worsen. Trade has slowed dramatically since April 2015, when Burundi's President Pierre Nkurunziza decided to run for a controversial third term. This triggered a diplomatic crisis with accusations that Rwanda was backing Burundian rebels. Now buses aren't allowed to cross the border for security reasons, affecting regular travellers.
Since the ban, the fare has gone up. Now to make a round trip, it costs 20,000 Rwandan francs, whereas before it cost only 12,000.
Many suspect that security concerns are also behind Burundi's decision to ban food exports to neighbouring countries, although food shortages caused by drought is the official explanation. In theory, imports from Rwanda to Burundi are still permitted, but in reality they've dropped by 40%.
Our business has been very affected by Burundi's decision. Our main customers come from Burundi and cross the border to buy our products.
With a ban in place, some traders have turned to the black market or smuggle in goods illegally.
I hide a little rice under my clothes and I cross the border.
As trade grinds to a halt, prices are pushed up, with some commodities doubling in price. The Rwandan government is trying to fight back, describing Burundi's ban as illegal. But its complaints have so far failed to solve the problem, only adding to the anger between the two countries. At 16 years old, Madikeng is one of the best jockeys in Lesotho. It's the eve of an important race, and the young shepherd can see himself finishing first.
I will be very excited if I win and very proud, because I will have won a professional race in front of everyone, all the horse owners.
Across the mountain kingdom of Lesotho, people use horses and donkeys to get around. Horse races are a way to celebrate the kingdom's culture, attracting hundreds of spectators. 5 races are organised to mark the king's birthday. Owners parade their mounts in front of the crowd and the betting gets underway. It's now Madikeng's turn to compete, finishing 4th, just enough to save his honour.
All the horses were very good. During training, my horse got injured, so didn't train him very fast. So next time, if no injury, we'll be fine.
The day's winner is a horse called Talk-a-Lot, a purebred that never loses.
It's because I train my horse very hard. I don't let it run, I keep him tight.
€1,000 is distributed as prize money, raised by the country's tourism board and local companies. These sponsors allow the tradition to flourish and hope to raise the sport to a professional level.
The future of the horses of Lesotho comes out of these races, where all your breeders and horse owners can analyse and look at the different horses and decide how they want to take their horses forward.
Madikeng has ridden for a number of owners, winning a total of €50, the equivalent to 5 days' work. One day he hopes to own his own horses, to continue the tradition and make himself rich.
On a Friday morning in Cairo, thousands of joggers gather despite the summer heat, then set off on a 4-kilometer jog which will take them along the Nile on the wealthy island of Zamalek. A challenge in the gridlocked metropolis where pedestrians have to contend with traffic.
In any other country, roads are closed off during a marathon, but that's not the case here. So we come here on Fridays at 7 a.m. when the traffic is light. Traffic is what we worry about the most.
Egypt is beautiful, but it's much nicer in the morning. After that, there's traffic, especially around 4 p.m. It's dreadful.
Sport in Egypt used to be mainly practiced in clubs reserved for the elite. But now, joggers of all backgrounds are using social media to organize group outings across the capital. The Cairo Runners Group, founded in late 2012, attracts between 2,000 and 3,000 people every week. Cyclists also increasingly swarm the crowded Cairo streets, exposing themselves to all sorts of criticism.
We've been subjected to harassment and ridicule, men and women alike. People keep telling us this is not a place to ride bikes, that roads are filled to capacity. But despite how bad that made me feel, I ignored their comments, and now people tell us they wish they could ride bikes too.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has called on Egyptians to exchange their cars for bikes, even leading a bike tour himself. But the dangers of cycling, particularly the absence of bike lanes, are an obstacle to many.
It's somewhat difficult and dangerous. I've already been in 2 bicycle accidents. I was hit by 2 cars and fell off a bridge. There's been many incidents, but I won't give up biking.
More than 3 million vehicles are registered in Cairo and its twin province of Giza, making life difficult for its pedestrians and cyclists. But most of them soldier on, braving the city's dusty, traffic-choked cacophony.
Several African teams, including Ivory Coast, Nigeria and the DRC, are preparing for their final qualifying matches ahead of the Africa Cup of Nations. Organisers say the tournament will go ahead in Gabon next January, despite the recent post-election violence. Next week we'll take you to Ivory Coast, which has become a mecca for people hoping to strike gold, albeit illegally. That's all from us at Africa Weekly. Until next week.